I decided to write Why Good Arguments Often Fail, partly because of my own frustration with the failure of my own arguments in conversations, in discussions, in formal presentations. Why Good Arguments Often Fail begins with arguments that we might think are good, but aren't. So those are what we call logical fallacies. Well, a logical fallacy is a fallacy of formal argument. That is, there's something wrong with the way in which the argument is put together. It's logically incorrect or logically doesn't follow. One of these kinds of arguments is a hasty generalization. It's raining today and the sun is shining. Every day it rains. Every day the sun shines, it rains. The second part deals with why an argument that doesn't make any logical fallacies also frequently doesn't really work, doesn't persuade. One of them have to do with the failures of the apologist. That is, the apologist is arrogant or aggressive or overly clever. Another one is misjudging their existential interests. In other words, they may be utterly uninterested in what you're talking about and couldn't care less. For instance, you might want to make a case for the resurrection. Well, that seems to us to be a very important notion. But today, people might not really care whether Jesus rose from the dead or not, and might not understand why it is that it's important. And the third part is examples of arguments that actually do both. They're good rhetorically, and they persuade. I prefer not to debate, because if you debate, you already have an adversarial situation. And people who watch a debate like to have a winner and a loser. But the atmosphere of a debate is not conducive to good thinking. So I have dialogues. And I'm perfectly happy to let the other person make as strong a case as they wish. I will make as strong a case as I wish, but I will treat him or her as an equal. I was at the College of DuPage, and I was talking about Eastern mysticism and Christianity. Do they mix, match, or marry? And in the process, for some reason or other, I said something that sparked a young student to say, but people can't communicate. And so rather than to ask what he meant by that, I simply said, what? He said, people can't communicate. And I said, what? He said, people can't communicate. And I said, what? And he got up and walked out. So it was my way of showing the self-referential incoherence of his statement, but it failed. And the audience thought that I had mistreated him. So I tried never to do that again. What I'm interested in why good arguments often fail is in rhetoric. Rhetoric is just as important as reason. You have to put them both together. You can have all the good reasons in the world, but if your rhetoric isn't proper, you're going to lose the argument in that sense. People are not going to follow it and are not going to change their minds or change their lives.